Hey, what's going on everybody? Justin here, and in this video I just want to share the 10 books that I was able to pick up over the course of July. I have already finished 4 of them, so that's actually pretty cool. 3 of them I bought, and then 7 of them were just from publishers and stuff, so I didn't do too crazy like myself. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get started with the ones that I bought myself. So the first up is one I finished. The Enlightenment, The Pursuit of Happiness, 1680 to 1790 by Richie Robertson. And this was a buddy read that I was somehow roped into doing with one of my good bookish friends, John. I'll leave his channel down below. If you like intellectual histories and philosophy and history and all that kind of stuff, you'll definitely like the content on his channel as well. But I'll leave a link to that below. But yeah, we did a buddy read with 4 of us reading this giant book on the Enlightenment for Historathon Q3. I learned a ton. It's totally out of like my wheelhouse. I'm not a huge like modern-ish, or I guess this is like early modern history fan per se, but I just really love some of the chapters on things like the scientific revolution and different kind of, I guess, social etiquettes and things that were changing, learning about like the salons and stuff, even though like learning about how they weren't like that big of a deal as like kind of give them credit for, kind of made me sad and stuff. But lots of really cool primary sources, lots of source material, lots of figures I didn't like know about, never heard of, and then a bunch of them definitely got fleshed out a lot more. Like I think I mentioned before about Diderot. I need to find a biography on him. There seems to be 3 or 4. I just gotta like pick which one I'm gonna be going with. But yeah, highly recommended if this kind of era or this sort of history is your thing. Very well done. Next up is 2 books, or I guess are 2 books that I picked up when I was stuck in a hotel for a little bit. I went to the local bookstore and I happened to find 2 books about thinking and stuff for whatever reason. We'll start with this one. This one is Good Thinking by David Robert Grimes. Why Flawed Logic Puts Us All at Risk and How Critical Thinking Can Save the World. I have not read this one yet, but I don't know, it just it sounds like it's just gonna thrash pretty much a lot of like kind of the conspiracy theories that go around today. Just the whole, I guess, dichotomy of like us versus them that doesn't always really make sense when you pan things out in your head and actually, you know, sit down and critically think about different issues and stuff. But I have not started it yet, so I guess this was just kind of like off on a whim because it was next to this one, which I'm not gonna lie, the cover on this one really helps. Sven Brinkman's Think, and Sven Brinkman is a psychologist, philosopher in Denmark, and I think this is translated out of the Danish. Though he does write and speak English, so I'm not exactly sure why that always happens, but translated by Tam McTurk. This is from Polity Press, which is a press I've been really enjoying lately. And this is all just about why it's important to like have a thoughtful life, why we should go through life thinking about things like in like a deep and meaningful way, which sounds like really abstract, and it kind of is, but it's hard to explain. But I don't know, just really awesome. There's one little passage way at the beginning. I did take notes of it. I did annotate it like slightly. Oh, you probably can't even see some of those. I did annotate it slightly, and I did take notes in my journal on this one, so I probably will do a review at some point. But just this one little passage here, like on page 2, just really sold it for me. Let's see. Okay, for most of us, it's important not only that we and our fellow human beings behave properly, comply with certain moral virtues, but also that we think properly, and in doing so, comply with certain intellectual virtues. It's important not only to act well, but also to think well. Doing so puts us in touch with reality, which helps us learn. It also encourages us to think critically, which allows us to identify those aspects of the world in need of improvement. And that was like the part I underlined right there. Good deep thinking can also be, in my opinion, a source of true joy, especially when we think for ourselves. And it kind of goes on a little bit more beyond that, but just really love that. And like I said, whoever did the cover design by David A.G., so you did a great job. I love the minimalist thing going on there. Okay, so now moving on, because I really enjoyed Polity Press and stuff, I reached out to them and they were kind enough to send me 2 books. So I got The Ethics of the Climate Crisis by Robin Attfield, as well as Being Philosophical by Stephen Hetherington. Now this one, I do have a full book review. I'll put a link up there and down below as well, where I just kind of go through all the different sections of the book and stuff. But yeah, this just one of the big takeaways for me was it's kind of dealing with, you know, when we say, you know, someone needs to take responsibility, or we need to take responsibility for the climate crisis, for global heating, everything, all these extreme weather events and stuff that's going on. Who is like we, like, you know, and he kind of delves into individuals, businesses, as well as different like governmental structures and stuff. But one of the big arguments in the book is kind of dealing with the whole idea of, you know, for one, can eco crimes, are they really a thing, and should they be a thing, and how do we make them a thing, all that kind of stuff. But also, do we have obligations to future generations, and do future generations and people that haven't been born yet, do they have certain rights in the contemporary period? And it's kind of looked at from a whole bunch of different angles and stuff. And I did enjoy how the author kind of writes in a way so it doesn't really matter what your kind of like ethical framework is, whether it's like very like deontological, you know, very black and white, or utilitarian, for those who know that sort of stuff. He kind of writes in a way and kind of points out different things, so it applies to pretty much all like the kind of different like ethical frameworks out there. But anyways, like I said, definitely check that out if that sounds interesting to you. And this one I've just recently started, and it's a very strange book. It's like a hybrid of like a regular book and a textbook. Like, I kind of wish this was like my textbook for like a philosophy 101 kind of class. There's no like assignments or questions or anything like that, but just the way it's structured. Each major chapter has like a bunch of subunits, but the subunits are so varied. They're all like on a similar topic, but it doesn't deal chronological like at all. Like you get like empiricists and like ancient Greek philosophers and like Indian philosophers and stuff, like all like right next to each other, and it somehow like works really well. I've been really enjoying it. Like I said, I'm only like a few chapters in, but like I said, I have to like finish it and just kind of see what goes on from there. Next up is a bunch of books I was sent by Princeton University Press. So let's start with The Lives of Lichens, a Natural History by Robert Luking and Toby Scribble, I don't know. I feel bad. Scribble, I think, is what it is. This is a really, really cool series. I have the one on octopuses, and I've read the one on beetles, and like they're just really super high quality, like natural history books. Lots of different like species are highlighted and everything, but every like two-page spread just has lots of really high quality, like glossy, like illustrations or photographs, diagrams, all kinds of different things. I've just really been enjoying them. I plan on collecting like the entire series here of this stuff. I think they have about 10 or 12 works in the series. I know bees are one, sharks I believe are one, I think spiders and butterflies each have one. So yeah, lots of really cool stuff. I just thoroughly enjoy them. Okay, and so now we got two more books from Princeton University Press. We got The Heart of the Wild, Essays on Nature, Conservation, and the Human Future. This is edited by Ben Mentier and Jonathan Losos, and I have read other works by Jonathan Losos, which is why I was really excited for this one. And I've read the first couple of essays, and so far it's been all about how do we reassess and kind of rethink our relationship with wilderness and the environment and stuff, and kind of it's all like it was really I got hit in the head pretty hard with one of them, where a lot of us kind of complain and bemoan, you know, the pristine past and this, that, and the other thing is all gone. But if we want future generations to, you know, appreciate anything, we got to take the environment for like where it's at like the current moment and do what we can, rather than just kind of pissing and moaning about how the world is never going to be like what it used to be and stuff. So I've been really enjoying it. I've been reading like an essay every couple of days, just kind of like thinking about and savoring it. But definitely we'll have a lot to say when this one is done. And then the last one from Princeton is this really awesome book. I've kind of gushed about it a bunch of times already. We got Polis, A New History of the Ancient Greek City-State from the Early Iron Age to the End of Antiquity by John Ma. Super fantastic so far. It's been everything I've wanted it to be, and I was like looking forward to it. Just like a complete history from like kind of the creation and evolution of city-states from former kind of like, I guess, governmental and city structures and stuff. And it's going to go all the way through the classical age like normal, but it's going to continue on during kind of the two imperial ages under like Macedon and then under Rome. So it doesn't end in the classical age like a lot of books do, and tons of city-states are highlighted, not just the big ones, not just, you know, Athens and Sparta and Syracuse and stuff. So because they're kind of almost like outliers in a lot of ways. So it's really been really fun learning about a lot of different like poleis that I've never even heard of. So just super awesome, like really good charts occasionally, like kind of like prove different points and everything. So just super highly recommended for Greek history for sure. Okay, so next up is a work that I'm about 2/3 of the way done, and it's from Hanover Square Press, so thank you to them for that. It's Paul Cooper's Fall of Civilization, Stories of Greatness and Decline, and Paul Cooper has a podcast of the same name. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous at first when I didn't realize that before I received the book. Just because I've read a few podcasts of book kind of translations, and it doesn't always pan out. But so far it's been pretty good. The first third of the book is dealing with like kind of ancient cultures. Then you have some during kind of the Middle Ages, and now I'm about to start kind of like the more modern cultures that have declined. And I would definitely recommend this one to those that are new to kind of just like world histories and that sort of thing. If you've read like zillions of history books and stuff, I don't know if necessarily you're going to get a lot out of it per se, just because with 14 different cultures and civilizations examined, it just doesn't leave a lot of room for each individual one to have like just a lot to say. But I have been pleased because it doesn't just cover things in the West. There's a lot of Middle Eastern stuff. There's a lot of stuff in, or a few things in Central America, as well as like in the subcontinent of India, such as like the Vijayanagara Empire, which I'd only like heard of briefly from like one of the like really big battles in the like 1500s or something like that. So yeah, definitely like learning a lot on the ones that I haven't already like read upon. So like I said, if you're brand new to kind of like world history, and you just like the whole idea of like, you know, not declining and falling and all that kind of stuff, and the Gibbon-esque kind of thing kind of going on, I think you'll really enjoy it. And then lastly is one more book that I've read that I gotta do a review hopefully pretty soon here. We got The Secret History of Sharks, The Rise of the Ocean's Most Fearsome Predators by John Long. This was a fantastic book. I'm now 3 for 3 with 5-star reads on shark books. And this one is basically a full natural history of the evolutionary lineage of sharks. From like their, you know, wherever they broke off on the evolutionary tree and their ancestors, all the way down the line. So we're dealing with hundreds of millions of years of evolution. One of the big takeaways of the book is how sharks have been able to manage to stay true as a lineage despite having to deal with every single major extinction event. And he kind of goes over like kind of the different ways they've adapted in each situation to kind of handle the different stressors and that sort of thing. Different chapters focusing on like, you know, the era of the giant sharks that we just like, I didn't realize like megalodons and stuff were only a few million years ago. Like, you know, just kind of a blink of an eye, and kind of like, you know, the whole grand scheme of history and whatnot. And then obviously the last section of the book is dealing with contemporary sharks and kind of like their status and what we know about them and how we research them and everything like that. But tons of different scientific, I guess, experiments and methods, doing like research on different fossils and stuff are recorded in the book, as well as just like all the different archaeological digs all over the world dealing with sharks. One takeaway too I really enjoyed about this one is it seems like in this line of study, I don't think I've ever seen so many new species named after each other, like other like friends and researchers, than I have with sharks. It's pretty crazy. But I really enjoyed that, and I will be doing a full book review of this pretty soon. So there you have it. Those are the 10 books that I picked up during August. Let me know which one sounds the most interesting to you and what your favorite book that you picked up in August was. I'm always on the lookout for great recommendations, and whatever you end up reading, always remember, read victoriously.